Hey there guys, what is going on? Today we are back with another top 10 list in Modern Warfare, basically taking a look at the 10 best guns in Modern Warfare right now. We've seen a lot of changes and a bit of a meta shift recently with a lot of the recent balance changes. I think this was about a month ago. I mean, we have gotten about a month's worth of content out of these most recent balance changes, which is very, very impressive. I do love when they make changes in the games like this. It really helps keep things interesting, viable, and so on. And we're going to jump into it in just a second, but just before we do get started in our list, let's try and get this one to 30 likes. The support from you guys has continued to be absolutely fantastic recently, as usual, so I'm going to thank everybody who does stop by, leave a like, subscribe, and all that other goodness. So, if you haven't already done so, make sure you do subscribe with those notifications turned on, just in case you don't want to miss out on any more videos like this. Lots of videos coming up very, very soon, and let's jump straight into our list here with the number 10 slot. Our perks and grenade choices typically don't change between most of these classes, so you can sort of use this as a baseline. So we want EOD, Ghost, and Tracker here, C4, and of course the Stim Shot in the tactical slot. Right, so our number 10 on our list at the moment is of course the VLK Rogue, which is probably the most powerful shotgun in the game right now. It's definitely able to get a decent amount of kills. Like, this is a shotgun that does decent damage up close, which is exactly what you want a shotgun to do, and you can get decent kills at sort of medium ranges if you keep firing those shots. Eventually people will just fall over. So as our attachments are as follows. With the muzzle, we're looking at the Forged Tac Marauder here. This is basically the best attachment for any shotgun. If you can use this on a shotgun, you definitely should. Sound suppression, damage range, and a tighter pellet spread. This is a very, very powerful attachment, as I said. You do want this on most of your shotguns. Basically makes it a lot easier to hit our shots, get as many pellets on target as possible. That can also be improved by aiming down sight, but we'll talk about that more in a second. In the barrel slot, we are taking the 16-inch Warlord barrel for that damage range and another tighter pellet spread. Again, making our pellet spread nice and tight is very, very important. As you may know, the damage is worked out by each individual pellet doing a set amount of damage, and then the burn damage comes after that, which, spoiler, we've got the Dragon's Breath rounds on this. And then sort of it gets a little bit of multipliers if you do hit headshots and so on with each pellet. We normally would take the VLK SAR here with that damage range and a tighter pellet spread, but this does increase, or decrease rather, our movement speed by about 4%, which is not really worth it. As for our laser slot here, this is where it comes into its own with the 5mm laser. That hip fire accuracy, again, being very, very tight. Makes it very, very easy to hit those shots. Super, super strong here. And sprint to fire speed, always a very powerful option. Another thing to look at with your hip fire spread is actually your FOV. If you are playing on PC, you can change your FOV to like one of the higher settings, mine set to 120, and it does decrease the visual size of your hip fire. So just keep that in mind if you do play on PC. We've also included the no stock here for that movement speed and aim down sight speed. Shotguns typically wouldn't be too affected by the no stock nerf that did happen recently. That recoil control being on a shotgun is not too significant. And lastly, as I said, we're rounding this out with the Dragon's Breath rounds for that incendiary damage. This is a straight upgrade over the stock rounds, basically making it very, very easy to get many kills with the fast fire rate and a decent amount of damage, plus the range as well. Keep sending those bullets down range, keep firing, and you'll definitely get loads of kills with this. This is one of the best shotgun classes in the game right now. Definitely one of the most fun, and I love the VLK Rogue. In the 9 slot, we do have the CR56 AMAX, which has taken a little bit of a fall recently, but I feel like it was impacted by the no stock nerf. This is a very, very powerful weapon. It also did receive a nerf recently that did decrease its damage range, making it a little bit less powerful, and that has seen it fall to the number 9 slot on our list. So as for our attachments here, we're looking for a great combination of aim down sight speed, sort of damage range, being able to hit our shots with that recoil control, and getting up those sights nice and quickly. Again, it's really, really important that you get those shots down range as soon as possible. Sometimes with certain attachment setups on the CR56 AMAX, it can be a little bit difficult to both get those sights up, get those shots down range, have that sort of damage and range as well, and the movement speed. It's a little bit of a tricky combination. It's a bit of a balancing act. So starting us off here, we don't have anything in the muzzle slot. Normally we would run like a monolithic suppressor or something like that, but we are going straight to the XRK Zodiac S440 barrel. Basically, we're getting that damage range, bullet velocity, and recoil control. I think it's basically a 30% increase to our damage range, which is very, very powerful. Being able to hit shots from further away is always super strong. And then we have a bunch of attachments to help counter that aim down sight speed decrease that we do get from the Zodiac. So starting off with the TAC laser, aim down sight speed, aiming stability, aim walking steadiness, makes it very, very easy to aim on target, get those shots down range. Also getting those sights up nice and quickly is a great, great bonus. Skipping over the optic, the iron sights are changed as a result of the barrel here, and they're fairly similar to the AK-47 iron sights, which I actually do like. So it makes it very, very easy to hit those shots. You can also include an optic here if you don't like those sights. A little bit controversially here, we are taking the no stock It did get nerfed recently, as I have said already, with that movement speed and aim down sight speed. The recoil control can be a little bit unruly with some weapons. In the rear grip slot, we do want that stippled wrap for that aim down sight speed, sprint to fire speed, and as I said, the Merc foregrip as well for that recoil control, hip fire accuracy, and about a 4% increase to our movement speed. So you can be very, very mobile with this particular class setup while having decent damage range, able to hit those shots very, very easily and get those sights up nice and quickly. The CR56 AMAX is still a very powerful weapon in this game. It's sort of fallen off a little bit. Once it did come out, people were like, this is the new weapon, this is it. And then it did get some nerfs. The balance changes have affected it significantly. So it does drop a little bit down on our list, but it is still a very powerful weapon in this game. As for our 8th slot here, we are taking a look at a weapon we did check out recently. It's very, very powerful. The pros do want the auger band in certain circumstances, so this is a very, very powerful class setup to look at. So, of course, the auger is a very fast-firing, very powerful SMG in this game, one of my favorites, and it unlocks straight away. Very, very powerful weapon for those of you who are just starting out in Modern Warfare. As for our attachments, we are taking the monolithic suppressor, starting off with that sound suppression and about a 10% increase to our damage range is very, very powerful, and it does work in combination with some of the other attachments that we're about to talk about. Moving all the way across to the other side for that stock slot for the Forge Tax CQB comb in that aim down sight speed. Again, as I've said a bunch of times already, getting that sights up nice quickly is very, very powerful here. We're also taking the stippled grip tape, again, aim down sight speed, sprint to fire speed, get those sights up nice and quickly, super, super strong. And in the ammunition slot, a very, very powerful attachment here. That damage and range from the 5.56 NATO 30 round mags are super, super strong. Basically, this makes us an assault rifle SMG hybrid. We pretty much get that SMG handling and movement speed while getting that damage and range of an assault rifle. Plus, 5.56 ammo is very, very common on the ground, so it's really, really easy to keep up those stocks, go on those longer streaks with this class. And lastly, that commando foregrip as well for that recoil stabilization. Normally on SMGs, we would run a Merc foregrip just for that sort of hip fire accuracy, but I feel like the commando foregrip is a little bit better here as we use on most of our assault rifles. Recoil stabilization, very, very easy to hit those shots. The AUG is super powerful, especially in this particular class setup. Hitting those shots is very, very satisfying with this particular weapon. You drop people so quickly. Very, very powerful weapon in my opinion. The 7 slot is another weapon that has received significant nerfs in the most latest balance patch. The Grau 5.56 has fallen from grace as it has been seen here. Like, it's just not the weapon it used to be. The Grau 5.56 has always had that decent damage range, but it does fall off significantly. Like, that damage range is actually not super strong anymore. It takes like a 4 to 5 shot kill while having a sort of decent fire rate. That combination isn't really as strong as it used to be, especially as it isn't as accurate as it used to be as well after the nerfs. As for our attachments here, we're running a very similar setup to how we used to run them. The monolithic suppressor, again, that sound suppression damage range makes the weapon sound very nice. The FSS 20.8 inch Nexus barrel, again, range, velocity, control here. Did get a nerf in these barrels recently, it makes it a little bit more difficult to hit our shots, but they're the barrels that are the best, so that's what we're going to go with. The commando foregrip, as usual for most assault rifles, that recoil stabilization, making it very, very easy to control that horizontal recoil. Vertical recoil becomes the only problem there, and you just pull down on your stick or your mouse. 50 round mags, just so we don't have to take the 60 round mags and cop that extra movement speed decreases. Very, very powerful to have more bullets. And lastly, the XRK Void 2 grip for that aim down sight speed and sprint to fire speed. It's a little bit unfortunate this does give us a little bit of a reduction to our recoil control, but this is the option that we're going with. You can of course take like the no stock, but that did get a nerf as well, as I've mentioned, and a double nerfed weapon is never super strong. So this is a weapon that's very, very still usable in this game. It's not as powerful as it used to be. Like, this used to be like one of my favorite guns, second or third best gun in the game, but it's not as powerful as it used to be. It's still pretty strong though. In the 6th slot, we are looking at another DLC weapon here in the Ram 7. This has always been one of my favorite weapons in the game just because of the very high fire rate on an assault rifle. Being able to shoot many, many bullets very, very quickly has always drawn me in. I love the Ram 7. It's not super powerful at the moment. It's just one of those weapons that doesn't really have the variety of attachment options. Like, some of these slots you are sort of penciled in already. Like, we already have to guarantee that we take the 50 round mags. Just having that 30 round mags is too small. But for the rest of our attachments, we're looking at the monolithic suppressor for that increase to our range. Again, 10% increase to our range is very, very powerful. Normally, we would have run the barrel here as well, that Ranger barrel, that range, velocity, and control. But this does make us very, very sluggish, and we're not really capable of increasing our aim down sight speed as much if we do have this barrel. That commando foregrip as well, very, very strong for that recoil stabilization. Again, 50 round mags, we already talked about that. Having a more increased magazine ammo capacity is very, very powerful. As I said, you go through ammo very, very fast with this weapon. Stipple grip tape, again, aim down sight speed, sprint to fire speed, very, very usual here. So XRK close quarter stock is as good as we're going to get. Aim down sight speed makes the weapon very, very snappy, getting those sights up nice and quickly. This is a more mobile version of the Ram 7 than we were used to run, but it is still very, very powerful. A high fire rate and decent accuracy, while being able to get those shots down range a little bit more easily is very, very powerful. Getting those sights up with the Ram 7, once you're on target, you're going to get the kill most of the time. In the 5 slot, we do have the AK-47 here, which is up there as one of the better assault rifles in the game as of the most recent nerfs. Basically, it did receive a little bit of an increase to its aim down sight speed, which when you do increase a weapon that is already very powerful a little bit, it continues to be very powerful, of course. Nothing has changed here apart from being able to aim down sight a little bit quicker. Being able to fight people at range with the AK-47 is still very, very satisfying. You're going to get loads of kills with this particular class setup, and looking at our attachments with AR as follows. Starting us off here again, as usual, with the monolithic suppressor, the most common attachment you'll probably see in this particular video. Range and sound suppression, again, about a 10% increase to our damage range. We're also including the 23-inch Romanian barrel for the damage range, bullet velocity, and recoil control. All the best barrels in the game do have this, and we can afford to take this on our AK-47 class. A very, very powerful option here. In the ammunition slot, we are taking the 5.45 by 39mm 30 round mags for that fire rate and recoil control increases. This does decrease our damage and range slightly. Makes our fire rate with the AK-47 very, very powerful and really, really nice to hit those shots sort of close to medium ranges. We're also taking the stipple grip tape here, aim down sight speed, sprint to fire speed, get those sights up again. And lastly, in the stock slot, this is of course up to you here. We're taking the skeleton stock as it does give us that aim walking movement speed as well as aim down sight speed. The aim walking movement speed and that aim down sight speed over just aim down sight speed. So the AK-47 is a very, very powerful weapon in the game at the moment. A super, super strong class that I definitely recommend you take a look at if you haven't already done so. The AK-47 is really, really fun to use. In the 4 slot, we are taking another look at one of my favorite weapons at the moment, the Uzi. As has been noted that the pros have wanted the Uzi banned with the .41 AE 32 round mags. That 2-shot kill being very, very powerful is a little bit too much sometimes. Like getting that 2-shot kill if you land 2 headshots with this is super, super strong. As for our attachments here, the Uzi is a fairly slow firing SMG, which is still very, very powerful, high damaging, very, very strong here. As for our attachments, we are looking at the monolithic suppressor. Again, a big old suppressor on this bad boy here for, again, that range and sound suppression. The FSS Carbine Pro Barrel for the damage range, bullet velocity, and recoil control, which again, if you do land those 2 headshots with the .41 AE 32 round mags, which increases our damage and range, you get a kill. 2 headshots is all it takes with this, and it's very, very powerful. Stipple grip tape again, aim down sight speed, sprint to fire speed, and lastly the FSS close quarters stock, aim down sight speed again. This is essentially the glacial polish sort of variant minus like the tack laser and the optic, and I think we swap it out for the rounds and the stipple grip tape. Again, very, very powerful class setup in the game right now. One of the best SMGs for sure. Probably the second best SMG in the game right now. Being able to get those 2-shot kills is amazing. In the 3 slot, we are looking at something surprising. Nobody really saw this coming, but because the patch notes were a little bit sort of vague as to whether this was going to be super powerful or not, but adding that 1-shot zone to the FAL class is absolutely insane. This is definitely one of the best weapons in the game at the moment. You will see people using the FAL more commonly than ever before. It's one of those weapons that is always going to do a fantastic amount of work. The class setup that we do have for the FAL is our burst FAL class that we featured a number of times this week. Very, very strong. One of my favorite classes in the game at the moment. As for our attachments, we are taking the XRK Marksman barrel as usual, range, velocity, and control with this. Speaking of being easy to hit our shots, the GI Mini Reflex is one of the best optics in the game for a nice clear sight picture, wide, thin, and sort of very unobstructed frame. Makes it very, very easy to track and hit shots with this. In the stock slot, we're taking the FSS close quarter stock here, aim down sight speed. Stipple grip tape, again, getting those sights up as usual, very, very powerful with this. And of course the burst perk as well. Being able to fire a 3-round burst with this very, very powerful weapon. If you land 1 headshot, you're typically going to get the kill. This might even be too strong, like the FAL might receive nerfs, which is a little bit unfortunate, but it's one of the best weapons in the game right now. Everybody knows what was coming in the number 2 slot. Again, the MP5 is still one of the best weapons in the game. There has been a little bit of debate recently with the 10mm rounds versus the 45 round mags, and we're sort of taking a look at that again this week, but I feel like the 45 round mags are probably better in most situations. Basically starting us off here with the monolithic integral suppressor for that sound suppression and bullet velocity. There is also about a 10 to 15% increase to our damage range with this. Skipping to the FSS close quarter stock here, normally we would run the FTAC collapsible, but as I said already this week, this did get the nerfs, so the aim down sight speed from the close quarter stock is just enough to get those sights up nice and quickly. Merc foregrip for most SMGs here with that recoil control, and hip fire accuracy is also a little bit of a bonus here. Being able to hit those shots while not having to aim down sight is very, very powerful. 45 round mags over the 10mm auto 30 round mags. If you do want a more in-depth explanation of this, do check out the video we made a couple of days ago. I think the 45 round mags are worse than the 10mm rounds, but they are more usable. Like, they're more appropriate for going on longer streaks. If you're sort of not as confident on those longer streaks, the 10mm ammo is definitely better. And lastly, stipple grip tape as usual, aim down sight speed, sprint to fire speed. You know what the MP5 does. It's always done the same thing. Very, very powerful even after the most recent nerfs. And lastly, you knew this was coming. The M4A1 is still the most powerful weapon in the game. No contest there. Hands down, throw down the hands. This is it. The M4 is still the best weapon in the game. It did get significantly touched by the most recent no-stock nerfs. As I said, being able to run around with an assault rifle with SMG-like speed was always too much. The no-stock had to go. So the M4 doesn't want the no-stock anymore. But we can get some suitable replacements for those attachments very, very easily. And it still makes the M4 very, very strong here. As for our attachments, you know the drill. Monolithic suppressor, again, damage range, 10% increase, sound suppression, very, very strong. The barrel, of course, with that Corvus custom marksman for the damage range, bullet velocity, and recoil control. I've seen some chatter about my third slot. With the stock slot, I've chosen the Forged TAC CQS stock for that aim down sight speed now. The TAC laser does actually offer that increase of the aim down sight speed over that particular stock, but that aiming stability and steadiness is nice as well. But I don't really like the visible laser too much. Being able to get those sights up and hold that position is typically more important to me than sort of having that extra little. I think it's about a 30 millisecond increase. I don't think it's too significant. Like, the TAC laser does have a fast aim down sight speed, and I can recognize that in a statistical manner. So Forged TAC CQS, even though the TAC laser is statistically better. The Commando foregrip for that recoil stabilization as usual. Very, very similar combination on most of our assault rifles with this sort of holy trinity right now. And that 50 round mags for the magazine ammo capacity being very, very powerful. And that wraps off our list here. M4 best gun in the game, no surprises there. The rest of the guns are free, open to debate. The M4 is still the best though. Make sure you do leave a comment if you do disagree with me, and I will tell you why you're wrong in the comments. Thank you very much for watching. I do, of course, appreciate it. If you did agree with me, make sure you let me know by leaving a like, and do subscribe if you are new around here, of course. I do very much appreciate it. Thank you very much for watching, as I said, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!